Howdy folks, and welcome to a compilation briefing. We're going to take a look between JavaScript, Ocaml, and Java and how they compile. Before we get into that, we'll quickly talk about interpreted and compiled languages. In an interpreted language, the compiler basically works such that we compile one line and then run it immediately after. Then we compile the next line and run that. So we're basically going to keep going line by line and just compile and run. Now this seems fine and dandy, but if we look at the case of the problem we have here, we'll see how they kind of differ. So in this case, we're on Hazy Maze Cave, and we have Mario. We want him to get to the other side of the level, but there's this pitfall here. If we have some program that basically moves Mario right with the control stick, we'll basically have him keep going right until he gets to the other side. Now we might see there's an issue with that because he's going to need to jump, but this is what will happen in the interpreted language. Essentially, you can consider the pitfall as Mario erroring out or reaching a part of the code that is not working, so it will continue to run the code until it reaches that point. In a compiled language, we'll have a case where it will basically compile the whole file and give us a runnable version of it that we can reference later or actually call to run. And this helps us because let's say we have the case where we go here and it will basically get here and realize there's going to be an error in the code or something that's not right, and it will throw an error so we know what the issue is and we know that we need to go back in the code and fix that issue. Now let's go into a brief demo with Ubuntu to see how this works between the three different file formats that we've been given. Okay, so we have three different files here. In the JavaScript file, you can see that we have a variable of x equal to 5, we have an add5 function, and we print some stuff with the console log. In the Ocaml function, we open printf, have a variable 5, have a function that adds 5, print some stuff, and that's all there is to it. For the Java file, again, we have a class of simple compilation, an int of 5, and a function of add5, and we have some stuff that we print in here. So because JavaScript is a interpreted language, it's going to run line by line. So if we say node, and then, if we go into our file here, and then we say node simple compilation.js, it's going to basically run each line one by one and then execute it. In the case of the Ocaml file, we have a little bit of a special case, and that's because Ocaml has the REPL, which can act as an interpreted language in a sort. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's go into the REPL. I like using utop, but you can also use Ocaml as well. Now let's say we type use and then we'll give simplecompilation.ml. As you can see, while it's compiling in a sense and going through the file, it will actually run our code. So in a sense, it gives us this interpreted language, but it's not really an interpreted language. And why do I say that? Because Ocaml is a compiled language, so Ocaml actually has an Ocaml-C that we use to basically give us a file that we can run later. So we'll just call it simple for simplicity purposes and give it the file that we're going to compile, and then we can run simple and we'll basically get the results that we expected here. So Ocaml functions in a way as both, but it really is compiled at the end of the day. Then finally for Java, as you may be aware, we're going to have to compile that one. So the Java file is going to compile everything before it actually runs, and that's what we do right here with Java-C. So we'll compile that, and then we can finally run this using the Java command and giving it simple compilation, and we'll see the results there. So as you can see, this is a good way to practice not only seeing the compilation differences between different languages, but also how they are written. You can find all this in the GitHub link that I provided in the description below. And as always, feel free to post questions and I'll try to answer them in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned a little more about compilation.